Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. Anyone in the Midwest? I don't think so. We're getting snow right now. First snowfall of the year. Kind of exciting. I see pretty much all familiar faces, but I would love to know for anyone that hasn't joined us before, would love to know your location so we can say hello. Um, Ed, hey, how are you? Kimberly, Latanya, Elizabeth? Would love to know where you're from, Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hi.
Hi. I'm an agent in Albany, New York.
Oh, welcome from New York. Are you getting snow right now?
We are not. We're actually getting a torrential downpour, which I will take over snow any day.
Yeah, our snow is about ready to change over to rain, but the first snowfall of the year is always a little bit crazy, right?
Yep, we're supposed to be getting our first snow next week, just in time for Thanksgiving. So we'll see.
Wonderful. Well, good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So, welcome to my weekly power hour. This is the last one until after Thanksgiving. So, next week we won't be in session. I hope all of you are planning to spend time with family and friends and eating a lot of food, maybe doing a little decorating. So, I do appreciate you being here. We are live every single Thursday at this time. I try to come up with some sort of beneficial training for all of you in hopes that you get excited about this niche of distressed sales. So I don't know what 2 weeks will bring. I'm going to take some time off next week, but we'll be back in 2 weeks. And then at the end of this session, I'll talk about the final power hour for this year. So I always do something really big at the end of the year because we do take some time afterwards. We travel after the holidays through the new year. So very excited to have you here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we are going to get started. Oh, before I do that, I really like to make things conversational. So if you have any questions, maybe you were on the power hour last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever, any questions, it doesn't necessarily have to be about today's session, feel free to ask. But today we're going to go through like compensation commission for buyers, agents, listings, my experience lately with the changes. I thought that was kind of really important because I know a lot of people are trying to plan right now for 2025. And it's like, well, what are those changes? Do I add this niche to my business? Do I not? And so I thought it was really a great way to kind of end until we come back after Thanksgiving break. All righty. So the official title for today is short sale commissions in today's market. I'm curious, has anyone closed a short sale on the list side or the buy side? Either one. I think I opened up the chat. Yeah. It's okay if you haven't. I actually love when there's newbies because I can really talk to you about, how I do all this. So, okay, that's fine. So it's a little bit different on each. I'm going to go over all of that. If I confuse you at all, just please message or unmute yourself. Happy to stop and answer any questions. Okay, so this is what we're going to go over today. We're going to go over the short sale listing agent compensation. So how I do it, how it really works, and then we'll go and do the buyer's agent. So I recently just got two short sales approved. So I wanted to let you know how that worked with the buyers, all the new changes with NAR. And then we're going to just go through a flow of essentially how everyone gets paid in a short sale. So, did your sellers qualify for reload? When does that get paid? When do you get paid? How does all of that work? A lot of people really don't know. So I really want to educate you on the compensation, commission, how it's all done. Okay. I've actually never done a training, anything like this. So hopefully it's helpful for you guys. Okay, so we are first going to start with the short sale listing compensation. Okay, so I'm mostly a listing agent. I rarely take on buyer deals. The only time that I take on a buyer deal is if it came from like a past client. So I've closed a couple buyer deals this year. I've helped their family over the years do a short sale, sell, and all that. So I do my short sale business has led to other business down the road. That's why I think it's such a great niche. But I don't typically handle buyers. So I'm mostly a listing agent. So when I get a call from my marketing, in today's market, you really have to determine, is this going to be a short or is this going to be an equity? And the best way to find out is to order that title. I've said that. I'm sorry, order the payoff. I've said that before. Once you know, so the last two, I had 4 deals to get closed by the end of the year. I've closed 2. One of them was just a regular sale. I've worked with their family over the years, helped their family members go through a short sale. And then the other one was an equity sale. She came from my letter, my postcard, and she had about 115,000 in equity. But these final 2 are short sales. So I knew that they were short sales, mainly because they had 2 mortgages, okay? And they haven't made a payment in quite some time. One guy hasn't made a payment in 5 years. So once I've determined, yes, this is going to be a short sale, then you're going to want to go through and get all of the regular listing agreements and all that signed. Our listing agreement here is the same, whether it's a short or traditional. But if it is a short, we have an addendum. I'm fairly certain that's how it is pretty much all over. So there's going to be a short sale listing addendum. Okay. So on the listing agreement, and I don't know if this has changed for you guys. Curious to know after I talk about this. But here we still are asking for the commission on the agreement. Okay, so we talk to the sellers about the commission. I still explain it to them. But hey, guess what? In the end, their bank is going to pay the commission. So I am still filling it out exactly how I filled it out in all my years. So here, and I know the commission varies depending on where you're at, but I give 3.5% to myself, the listing agent, and I give 2.5% to the buy side. And I explain to the sellers, hey, the buyer's agent has to request this amount, and the bank does have to approve it. You are not going to be responsible for that. You're not going to be responsible for my commission either. It's all paid for by the bank. So in a short sale situation, your sellers should not be paying anything. Don't ask them for money for photos, marketing, none of that. They don't have any money, okay? So the agreement for the listing side is still filled out the same way. I give 3.5% to my side and 2.5% to the buy side. Why do I do that? Well, my team handles everything from start to finish, okay? And so sometimes they are complicated, and I do want to, give my team a little bit more of that money. So I've always done 3.5% for me and 2.5% for the buy side. That has not changed. I'm curious if anyone's taken a listing or a short sale. You're still asking for the commission in your agreement? That's how it is here. We still ask for, it's all laid out, listing percentage by buyer percentage. I don't think it's changed elsewhere. I think that's pretty much how it is. Okay, so listing agents, pretty simple. Nothing has changed for us on the short sale end at all. I am still making 3.5%. So if we do those numbers, let me just grab my calculator. So for example, I have a house selling at 325,000. It's coming either next week or the following week, and then I have one left. So at 3.5% on 325,000, that's $11,375. That's a good chunk of money. And so just keep that in mind if you're looking to get in the niche of, there's more short sales now than they are equity sales. It's going to vary, probably 50-50 where I'm at. But if it is an equity sale, I typically try to get 2.5% for me. And then obviously the buyer's commission is negotiable now. But 3.5% for list side for commissions on a short sale. Questions on the listing side? Kimberly, no questions? I missed all your questions. You've kind of been MIA lately. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the buyer side. So this is where, I don't know, maybe you'll be surprised, maybe you won't be surprised. So I have these two short sales. I'm going to just explain them to you a little bit, and then I'm going to tell you how I dealt with the buyer's agent commission, what got approved, and then we'll move forward on the flow part. So the more mortgages there are for these short sales, the more complicated it is. But you know, some of these banks, you will start to build relationships with people. So I actually have a pretty good relationship now with BMO. They used to be probably one of the worst banks to deal with for short sales. So the one that I have upcoming, it has two mortgages. The first one is with BMO. And then the second mortgage is actually with a credit agency right now. It's called Real-Time Resolutions. And I'm just waiting on their final approval. This is a cash deal, so we're going to be able to close pretty quickly. So the first has approved. When there are two mortgages, the first mortgage will tell the second mortgage how much they're allowed to get. In this particular situation, the second is getting $6,000, which is more than what they would normally get. So they'll approve it. When the offer came in, similar, the buyer's agent sent over the commission request form. Let me pause. There's a question, I think. Hi, Geraldine. How are you? We're just talking about commissions. So if you have any questions, I just went over the listing, which is typically for me, I ask for 3.5%. But if you have any questions, let me know. Right now, we're talking about the buy side. So for this particular one, the buyer's agent sent over that request. I'm great. Looking forward to some time off next week. And that, you know, there's a form. So it's probably similar no matter where you're at. It's just like a one page. It's saying, hey, I'm the buyer's agent for this property. I'm requesting 2.5%. Okay. And, you know, your seller has to sign it, all that. In a short sale situation, your seller isn't paying for anything. That is the bank's responsibility. So we submit that form with the packet. So that is what is new. Okay. We're still submitting all of the same forms, but the additional form you have to submit in that packet is that buyer's request. Okay, I don't know the exact name of the form. Then when you prepare those statements, the preliminary statement required when you submit the packet, on that you still want to put the buyer's agent commission and yours. Okay, that hasn't changed. We're still asking the bank to pay 2.5%. On that, you still also want to ask, and this will kind of go in the flow part, the relocation assistance for your seller. Okay, so then you go through the short sale. And so for both of my short sales right now, it's the same process. So just keep that in mind. You have the short sale offer packet. And when a buyer's agent, you know, brings in that offer, you're going to want to still get that one document signed and make it a part of your short sale offer packet. The second deal that I just got approved was with Freddie Mac. Okay. So Freddie Mac, if there is a set for Freddie and Fannie, if there's a second mortgage, they're required to take the $6,000. So the first mortgage on this one was Shell Point, and the second mortgage was BMO. So I have two with BMO. That's both approved, tentatively ready to close December 5th. So I know now, because I've been through a Freddie Mac short sale, and the other one is a private end investor. Both have said nothing about the commission, and they are going right in and approving the 2.5%. So my experience right now with buyer's agents on a short sale is they are getting that full commission of what it normally was. And I say that because this is pretty typical short sale for me. So I always, even back in 2007 when I started these, asked for 3.5%, and I always gave 2.5% to the buy side. Now, if an agent comes in and is requesting 3%, I tell them no. It's 2.5%. And so I did not get any questions. I did not get any, none of that. The bank just went and approved it. So yeah, I know there's been a lot of changes for NAR, changes, adjustments with your business, all of that. but I was pretty confident that the niche of short sales wasn't going to change. Now, are we going to have an issue down the road with buyers agents and banks? Possibly. You know, there are some times where banks cut my commission to 5 versus the 6, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Okay. You know, if you're going about this as the money, then you're probably in the wrong niche. I just deal with it. I don't go to my sellers and say, hey, I'm short a percent. Like, they don't have any money to give you, right? So I would say once a year on average or so, I do get a bank. Celine Finance is pretty big with paying 5%. It is a possibility that the bank will cut your commission. But good news, with all of these NAR changes, we have not had any issues thus far with getting the buyer's agent commission approved at 2.5. And that was with a Freddie Mac deal and a private investor. Oh, awesome. Are you the buy side or the list side? You can unmute yourself, Geraldine, or buyer side. Okay.
Oh, great. Thank you. Because I'm driving.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay. So you're the buyer's agent. So I think in my lifetime, I might have been a buyer's agent once on a short sale. Now I have done it on my short sales before. I get really nervous when my buyers, to be honest, I give them the full detail and you know, I'm like, hey, if I'm the one negotiating it, it's probably going to get done. But a lot of these agents take on these deals and they don't know how to properly navigate all of it, especially if there's, you know, an IRS tax lien, an HOA issue. What are some other things that came up recently? 2 mortgages. I've done them with 3 mortgages. I mean, just really crazy stuff. You know, it doesn't always get done. So did you ask for the 2.5% then, Geraldine?
Well, this situation is very rare because I actually knew the seller, and but he lived in Dallas, so I referred him to someone I knew in Dallas, a broker, and he actually processed everything. So I end up representing the buyer just because I was the referral on the deal, and we negotiated 3% on the transaction.
Okay, so you're not related to this person, right?
Am I related to what, the seller or the buyer?
Both, either.
Either, yes, I am related to the seller.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a heads up now. The bank is not gonna like that. Do you know who the bank is?
I know the buyer's agent's bank. I have the pre-approval letter. I do not remember the name right offhand.
Okay, so you are related to the seller.
Yes, but I'm not representing the seller. I'm only representing the buyer. And the buyer, I don't have any previous or any connection with them at all.
Okay, let's talk about that. I know this class is not obviously an arm's length transaction, but I just want to give you a heads up to be
Yes,
aware.
please. That's why I'm here to learn.
So it does not matter if you, so like, it is a possibility. Do you guys have the same last name?
No, we do not.
So
he's a cousin of mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously you always want to do the right thing so it doesn't come and bite you in the, you know what, in the end, right? So eventually when the short sale gets approved, it's either before or after. They'll have you all parties, and all parties would include seller, seller's agent, buyer, buyer's agent, and usually the title company. Sometimes the attorneys have to sign an arm's length transaction. And that is going to state, and a lot of times they want it notarized, that you are saying that you are not related to any parties. So that's where there's a lot of confusion. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. I know you guys don't have the same last name, but that document is going to be tough to get around.
Mm,
because you are technically related to the seller. So
mhm.
buyer can't be related to seller. Buyer's agent can't be related to seller. No parties can be related whatsoever. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to give you a quick example. So just be aware of that. I mean, maybe they won't make you sign an arm's length transaction. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
because we were scheduled to close Monday, but the title didn't submit the survey in time. They thought they sent the survey, but the survey was not, and they had to do it Friday, the Friday
okay.
before we closed, which was the Friday, because we were supposed to close, I think, Monday.
Yeah, so it's tough. So like you may not have an arm's length. Technically, that's the rule. So if you guys have the
Is
same
that a Texas rule or just a
nationwide,
all
it's all over.
nationwide rule?
They don't like any people to be related at all. I'll give you a quick example, but if there's no arm's length transaction, which I find it hard to believe, then maybe you can get away with it. If they've already approved it, like they probably don't know, and
Yeah, we're
signing.
at closing. Yep,
But I'm
we're
just
just
saying,
waiting on the survey, and the survey came Monday. So
yeah, it's just
I
a
believe
very
we're supposed to
great,
close Friday. Yeah,
it's just a very gray area. So just know moving forward that
forward. Yes.
no parties can be related. So I had a deal that took me 2 years to do because they had 2 mortgages. There was a mechanics lien from a roof issue on title. They were going through a bankruptcy,
Ooh.
and the guy died during the process. I had a
Ooh.
buyer's agent submit an offer to me. He was a managing broker and he was related to the buyer. I always ask these questions, okay? Because I don't want to waste my time. My time is valuable. And I said, look, are you related to the buyer? And he said, yes, it's my nephew. And I said, okay, well, this has to be an arm's length transaction. I'm pretty certain the bank isn't going to approve that. And he said, you're crazy. And I said, oh, you think I'm crazy? Okay, let me submit this deal and we'll see what happens, right? So, this deal took me a long time to negotiate it. And guess what? The bank came back and said, absolutely not. They're related. We are not paying a commission to that buyer's agent. And if they resubmit it with that buyer and another agent, it is flagged in the account and we will not pay any agent that comes in with that buyer. So
so the buyer is actually flagged, not the.
Yeah, so like when I say no parties, I mean no parties. You cannot be related to buyer, seller, agents, none of that. Like they don't want anyone related. So back in the day,
because that's coercing.
They considered it like back in the day a foreclosure bailout. So some banks are super strict with it. Like obviously it was not even my side. It was a buyer's agent related to the buyer and they didn't pay the commission. And he got mad at me and said, I'm going to come sue you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, try it, dude. I told you this in the beginning and you didn't believe me and you're a managing broker. So those are the types of questions I ask up front. I want to make sure that no parties are related because I don't want to spend all this time and not get it closed, So
I wonder, should I bring that up to I sure hate to cause any problems, but
I would ask them if have to sign an arm's length transaction because then essentially if you do have to, then you'd be lying. So I would, if they are not making you sign an arm's length transaction, well, they're not asking you if any parties are related. That is the whole point of the arm's length transaction is to ask if any parties are related. So if there's no document, probably wouldn't worry about it. They're not asking you, but if there is, sometimes that document is signed before closing, other times it's signed at closing. So I would ask them, and you can certainly send me an email. I'll give you my email.
Okay.
Is that the bank's responsibility?
The bank will issue, now she's on the buy side, so the bank isn't going to issue the documents to her. With the approval letter, and both of these current deals that I have, both of them came with an arm's length transaction. So they will issue, hold on, they will issue an approval letter which gives all the breakdown, the numbers, the commission paid, the closing date, blah, 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 blah. And then aside from that, they will also give you an arm's length transaction and sometimes other documents. So this arm's length transaction, all parties have to sign their names, print their names, and get all of that notarized, saying that no, they are not related to any single party in this transaction.
And so this is all done at closing then?
So
Gotcha.
sometimes it's done at closing, sometimes it's done prior. So the two deals I have going on right now, one of them wants it done before they say, yes, you can close. The other one is done at closing. So it just depends.
On the lender.
It depends on the short sale lender, yeah, or who backs the loan. It's different for every scenario.
Gotcha. Okay.
Let me ask you, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Say that the lender, no one, like Geraldine's going through this process, no one brings it up, no one asks for it or anything. They can't go back and once the deal's done and realize that that there was a relation, could they go back and change things?
Okay, so that's a good question.
Yes, it is, because I was thinking that.
Okay, so let me tell you experience that I had with that. And obviously things change so much over the years. So, okay, so no parties can be related family, or they can't also be related through like business. So what I mean by that is back in the day, a long, long time ago, I was at a different brokerage and my managing broker was facing foreclosure. And he said, Heather, you got to help me. You're the best. I don't want to use anyone else. So I listed his property. I got it sold. I was technically related to him as business. We are, because I worked for him. It was his brokerage. I got that deal closed, but afterwards I was then blacklisted to do any short sales with that bank for a year. So I have not had that happen. I'm very, very strict. Now, if someone lies to me, that's on them, but one of the main questions I ask up front is, are any parties related? If the buyer's agent and the buyer are the same, like maybe you want to come in and buy a short sale, I tell them no, like you got to put it in another buyer's agent name. Whether you get paid down the road, I don't want to know any of that. Okay. But you're obviously related to yourself, right? So I handle all of that up front before I even submit the packet. And if they don't like it, then we move on, because I've done enough of these to know, I know, like most people don't. Hence the deal I was telling you about with the managing broker who had no clue. And guess what? He waited a year and didn't even get paid on the deal. So those are the types of questions I ask up front. If you're on the list side, are any parties related, So I don't know what would happen now. I don't, because I haven't had that happen in such a long time, because my team is instructed to ask all of these questions before my seller even signs the offer.
So would you walk away then? Say you were in a situation and just starting to get a deal going, and last week you gave a short sale intake form, and in that intake form, one of the questions are, I just need to know, are any of the parties? If they said yes, would you say, sorry, I can't do this deal with you?
Yes, I would, because you are going to completely waste your time.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of agents, that's why I love for you guys to attend these sessions. I mean, I do give so much valuable information. Most don't know that. And I don't want you to waste time. Time is everything, right? So if I've had people call me and say, hey, I'm facing foreclosure. I have a sister that wants to buy my house. And then I explain to them why that can't be. And most of the time they understand it, but I have had to tell people, I'm sorry, I can't help you. You are related to them. I don't want to get myself in any pickle. No way. It's not worth it. This is my business, my future. But normally when someone comes to you, they don't have a buyer, right? Kimberly, you list the house. But when you get an offer. My team looks at the buyer's agent name. They look at the buyers. If they have the same name, then it's like, well, are you related? And then that's when we try to go in and switch the buyer's agent before we submit it. Otherwise, they could get in the same situation where they're not going to get paid. So if no parties are related, great, then we just submit it.
Yeah. I guess that just seems wrong in a lot of ways, because if you had a family member who could afford to buy it, I mean, as long as they're getting their money, I don't know why they would care.
I mean, it was a mess in 2008, 9, 10. And, people, they did not want family members coming in and bailing them out. They considered it a foreclosure bailout. Now, I don't know if there's necessarily a lot of that going on, but there's, we still have the mess with the pandemic, and people think they're getting bailed out all the time. I've been talking to a lady for months, and I kept saying, your house is going to go to foreclosure, lady. What are you doing? Her house went to foreclosure yesterday. She's SOL. It's like no one's listening anymore because they just think they're going to get bailed out by another forbearance or whatever. It's really crazy. So while I don't think we have so much of that going on anymore, it's adjusted to another thing. But yeah, I mean, the arm's length transaction is exactly that. You're signing it saying that you're not related to any parties. So if you sign it and you're related, that's on you.
Right.
And then that also interrupts the fact that, hey, we work with, people in our sphere, our closest family and friends. And if a family member feels comfortable with working with you versus to someone else who they don't know, that kind of interferes with that piece too. But I get it. I totally understand.
A friend is going to be different. So someone has said to me before, hey, I have a friend. And I'm like, well, what does friend mean to you? No relation, business, family, like none of that, right? And they say no, like, well, you can't prove really that people are friends. We're not talking about friends here. It's like blood, family, and business. So like if someone submits me their tax returns and their tax accountant is purchasing their property, then that's a no because they're related through business, right? So that's a no. I was going to say something and then my brain, you get some of these conversations I get like fired up about because I'm like, how do people
yes,
you know what I mean? Like, don't do it. I don't want you to waste your time, but it's crazy.
right.
I can't remember what it was, but maybe I'll think of it as we.
Another thing I wanted to mention is the fact that the broker, when I submit the documents in the back office, and I advise that it's a short sale. That question should be, a question that should be addressed from the brokerage, educating their agents on, because like you mentioned, that's my first question I ask. Like our first question is, are you working with an agent? But on the short sale deal, it should be more or less, hey, are you related, to the seller or the buyer in some sense?
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. So here's the thing. Managing, and I'm sorry if any of you guys are managing brokers, I'm definitely not busting on you, but the reality here is America, most agents, managing brokers, teams, they don't know how to properly navigate all of the craziness with short sales. I mean,
you ain't got to tell me twice.
I'm talking super craziness. Like, look, I want people to know that Heather Keller understands everything when it comes to these. And that's why I do these weekly power hours. That's why I have my community. I want to educate you. Why? Because these families deserve the best. They are struggling. I've seen so many horrible, horrible situations. It's bad. But guess what? My managing broker has no clue how to do short sales, what to ask, none of that. I got a call yesterday from an agent in my office that said, I talked to Ray and he has no clue to how to answer my questions. He had me call you to go over these scenarios. And I had to giggle a little bit because I'm like, yeah, I'm at that point. I'm like the short sale lady, right? So they come to me with questions, and that makes me happy because I know that I can answer them, you know, and she had no clue how to even go about what she was about to get herself into. And it's just crazy. So
And
yeah,
she should use your power and educate others, host a class, you know. They have those, you know, classes that we can get CE credit for and educate us, because it's going to get to a point where there's going to be more people out here going under foreclosure and short sale. And if there's not a lot of property on the market, we're going to have to drive in those directions. I mean,
look,
that's just me thinking.
I love short sales. I love the art of putting the deal together. I love everything about it. Does it drain me at times? Yes. I'll tell you a little secret. I don't have any accreditations, none of that. I feel like the things that I've seen and went through in 17 years is by far more than having just, oh, I got a little pin that says I'm, you know, whatever approved to do pre-foreclosures or whatever. I believe what I share, the programs I put out there are 1,000 times better than just going in and getting some little credit for short sales and pre-foreclosures, because I'm bringing in like real life experiences. So stay till the end, because I am having a huge event on December 19th. Geraldine, you got to come to that. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. Anyways, I know we got off topic a little bit, but let's
Yes, and I thank you for you know, walking into my story. I appreciate that. Everyone, I'm gonna go back on mute.
I like to, you know, you come on and someone has a question and it kind of turns into something else. Like, I love that. I could sit here all day and talk about short sales and the different scenarios, you know. I should do just a story day where I tell you all my crazy deals. But anyways, let's talk about the flow. Okay. So how does everyone get paid in this scenario? This is the question I get all the time from my sellers. They don't call me because they're scared that they have to fix things. Nope. Every short sale situation is as is. I don't care if your property is in pristine condition. I don't care if it's a dump. Okay. I will sell it, period. So all short sales are sold as is. The way, okay, so every short sale has the option of relocation assistance. That is, excuse me, money that your seller could get. And so the way that you ask for that is you put it on the preliminary statement. When you go and put on your commission and all that, you're requesting either from the attorney or the title company, you put relocation assistance to Geraldine, okay? And it has 3,000 on it. Some areas vary a little bit, but they do not get that money until it closes. So yes, it is relocation assistance, but they have to relocate before it closes. The sellers cannot be in the property when it closes. They have to move out, okay? So once it closes and funds, they get paid that 3,000, okay? That is when you get paid your commission, both sides. Everything has to be said and done, which is, you know, you guys probably knew that, but I really wanted to touch on the reload because, you know, it is a great way to incentivize these homeowners. Back in the day, there was the HOPA program. I think in 2016, I closed like 70 short sales where sellers got like $10,000. Some of those were more than what I made in my commission, but it really helped them. So if we get ourselves back in a pickle, I hope that, you know, we have a program like that again, because it really helps these families get on their feet. But relocation assistance is always paid at closing when you get paid. Sellers will be like, oh, well, why don't I get that up front? Well, the bank is not stupid. They're not going to give you money until they know that you've cooperated fully with getting out of the property, signing all the documents, right? So it makes sense if you really think about it. Questions on that part? Okay, so
No,
I have, yep, go ahead.
oh no, I was just answering. I was saying no, thank you.
Okay, I know you're driving. Okay, so we have no power hour next week. It is Thanksgiving, so I hope all of you have a lovely holiday. And then we'll be in session on December 5th and 12th for like a normal training. I always come up with something. Maybe we'll talk about arm's length transactions. And I can show you some of those documents. We'll see. I plan that next week. And then the 19th is a special power hour. So this is something that I've never done before. I've done a lot of polls in the group over the last few months, and I've taken a lot of that into consideration. And so this is really about customizing your business, not so much the buyers, but how can you customize your business and get into this niche of short sales on the listing side. So it is registration only. And because Zoom only allows me to have so many, like it's not, I don't remember the exact amount. But last year, this was one of the biggest weekly power hours. So make sure you register for that. It is Thursday, December 19th, same time. Usually the last one is about an hour, depending on how many questions there might be. And then we will be off until the new year because it's Christmas and my family and I take time and we travel after the holidays. So don't miss that one, okay? Sign up for it now. We have several openings still. I just opened up the registration. I think it was last week. So we're still there. Any questions on that or anything we went over today? I did put the link in the chat. I'm sorry, I should have said that.
Can you verify if we've signed up for that?
Sure. I want to say you have, Kimberly.
I have to.
Hold on, let me take a look.
I don't want to keep adding my name to it.
Yeah, it's details. Okay, hold on. So Ed is signed up. Kimberly is signed up.
Good.
Yes, you are, Kimberly. And I thought you were, Latanya, but I don't see you on here. Nope. Okay, so just Ed and Kimberly. So Elizabeth, Catherine, Latanya, and Geraldine are not on there. Actually, it's a really great idea. I'm going to check that every single week, Kimberly, so we don't have duplicates. But yep, you're all good.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I'll stay on for a couple of minutes if there's any additional questions. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family and friends and all the yummy food, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
I just have a question. So you're saying that when you do your short sale, you do all your I don't know what you guys use out there, but we use DocuSign. So all your documents are the same except for one, like an addendum, huh?
Well, it depends on which document you're really referring to. So for the listing side, that's like the first part. So I shouldn't say never, but I typically do not get those electronically signed. Mostly because you're going to get an authorization sign and most banks want that wet. So when I go to the listing, I have them sign everything there, all wet. That's typically how I do it. When it comes to the actual short sale packet, they also fill that out and sign wet and handwrite or type it in, but they sign it. But when it comes to the contract and the offer or any addendums required, I do have them DocuSign. So my team does use DocuSign, and then we use .loop to keep track of everything. .loop is very task. You can upload tasks and stuff, which I've created. I've created a task for equity sales and short sales. And so that, depending on where it's at in the process, we assign those tasks. And so we don't use .loop for signing. You can, but we've just always used DocuSign for signing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are these recorded, these videos? I mean,
Yeah,
these,
so
meetings?
yep, it gets are you in my free group, Geraldine? Yeah.
I received your emails. That's about it, probably. I don't think so.
Well, let me
I just
post-
signed up for the class and it asks about being a member or, so I'm guessing that's what you're referring to.
So here's this group. I do post it. I will send out an email. I do post it in this group as well. So usually the replays come out, it'll come out tomorrow sometime. Probably, it just depends on what's going on. Tomorrow will be probably tomorrow afternoon. So you can be on the lookout for the replay. But yes, I do record it. It does get released. Okay. All righty. Well, I hope everyone has a blessed Thanksgiving, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Have a nice holiday.
You too. Bye, everyone.